Now then, crew, and welcome back to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. This will be the last video in the strip down of the Myford ML7 lathe. We've still got the gear at the front, the gear shaft to take off at the front. We've got the end stock to strip. We've got this intermediate sort of bearing carrier pulley system spindle thing to strip down, and of course the apron too. Once that's done, we'll have a full assessment of all the remaining parts that need to be ordered, and Mrs. Mechanic can get everything cleaned up, ready for the assembly. Right, where to start? Apron, I think. Here we go. Used.
You don't paint something without wiping.
Honestly. Where do we start? Well, never stripped one of these down before, so only one way to find out, I suppose. Okay, let's get the wheel taken off first, and just down there is a little grub screw. So hopefully it's not too tight. Oh, before we do that, just to show you, there's a tremendous amount of play on that bush. Yes, that's definitely going to need to be replaced. Not good at all. I'm assuming there is a bush in there that is replaceable. Otherwise, we've got a major problem on our hands. Jeez, this is going to be a bit tight. Bear with me. Make sure the Allen key's all the way in, Mr. Young. Otherwise, you'll have a problem rounding it off. That's ridiculously tight. We may have a problem already, Houston. Oh, there we go. We're in. Certainly pays to take your time with these things. Is that going to come off there? Don't know. Seems quite stuck. Poor little lathe. Right. That's still very stuck on. What have we got on the end? Is that just the end of the shaft? I think it is. That really should just come off there. Let me get a prying device. You can't beat a good old screwdriver, can you? I know, I'll get you shouted at in the comments already. Oh, there we go, look. You see, it worked. We need a bigger screwdriver. Dum 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 dum. Right, we're almost there. We really are. Can I get under there now? It could be a vice thing. Yes, let's stick it in the vice. Now, very fortunate with aluminium jaws in here for those viewers that are concerned that I'm going to damage the metal casting. Okay, see if we can get under there now. Way! Excellent! That's that bit off. Now we've got a little woodruff key in there. Pair of pliers. Oh, it feels decidedly wobbly now. Look at that. Jeez. Maybe a tappy tap. Yes, let's give this a go. It might just dislodge it enough. There we go. Brilliant. Right. First two parts are off. That's done. We have a nut. Let's get that removed as well. Now this lever here engages and disengages the drive on that rotating threaded shaft. Wow, that was loose. Jeez, that was really loose. But in keeping with all the other fasteners on this lathe, to be honest, everything seems to be very, very loose. There we go. Super job. So all that, when you rotate this, all it does is move these two dowels in or out, depending on whether it's engaging or disengaging. Now, are they loose? No, they're fixed. Cool. Okay, what's next? Well, let's turn it over and take a look. Okay, right. Back to the bench, I think. So you can see these two sort of half moon threaded bits. They basically move in or out, whether they're going to grab the shaft or not, but we can't get them all the way out yet. And these little dowels do have a flat head screwdriver, so I think we need to take those out next. Let's see if we can get those undone. Oh, that one's already loose. It doesn't bode well, does it? Right, that's that one. Is this one going to play ball as well? Yes, it's already loose. Fantastic. This lathe basically was just trying to disassemble itself, wasn't it? Okay, let's turn it over. Now we can remove those. Now I think it might be worthwhile labelling which one is the top and which one is the bottom, because they might be handed. I don't know. Just don't know. So I'll get my paint pen. Hang on. Okay, so we'll do that one as we'll put an arrow for up. If you can see this or not, probably not. There we go, an arrow for up. And we'll put 1. Got to get the grease off, Mr. Young. Got to get the grease off. Right. And an arrow and 2. So 2 is the lower one. It's alright, it's all recorded on video, we're good. So now we should be able to pull those out. Let's give them a wiggle. That's that one. And that's that one. And we can also remove that, which is obviously an adjustment piece, and we've got little adjusters at the end here. Let's take up any kind of play as it wears. Excellent. Right, so I think the next job is get this little safety guard taken off. Okay, a couple of bolts. These are obviously adjustment bolts as well for that adjustment slider that runs inside there. We've seen that similar design on the carriages as well. So, is it a 3/8? Nope, they're not 3/8. Okay, next size down, that I've got at least, 5/16. Nope, it is loose, but nope, that's too small. 8mm, which we know it's not metric. Well, it shouldn't be because it's too old, but it seems to fit. Oh God, no idea what size it is really. Keep it trucking, Mr. Young, keep it trucking. Okay, that's one. A specialist bolt again, it's got a little round end on it for the adjuster. See if we can crack that one off. No, I really can't get the 8 on actually. That doesn't work. Can we get that one on? Nope. Okay, about a 9mm. Oh, that's enough to crack it off anyway. Wasn't particularly tight, which is, in this particular instance, a good... Oh, hang on. The end of this bolt has gone. It's been broken. So, I'll have to wind that off at the same time as pull the guard back. Needs a new bolt in it. (1954) this lathe was made. It's done some work over the years, that's for sure. It's going to look rather handsome when it's all finished. It'd be great to be able to get to use it as a second lathe. There we go. Right, we can get that out of the way now. That's that bit done. But this adjuster's still stuck, so we need some pliers. Let's see if we can just grab the end of that shaft and get it to start to rotate. Wow, that's tight. No wonder it broke. Might need to... Well, we're going to replace the bolt anyway, so here it goes. Might need to run a tap down these threads. For some reason, it's a little bit on the tight side. Nearly there, nearly there, nearly there, nearly there, nearly there. look, see, it's picked up on the aluminum in there. Some of the threads have got bits of debris stuck in them, so it's not over happy down there. Maybe it's been over tightened at some point, or maybe just swarf that's got in there. Right, so this one is just a plain adjuster. It doesn't hold anything in place. Not like the other two. It's good that they've actually used the bolts for a dual purpose. There we go, and that's the shorter one. Okay, short one down the bottom. Right, that's all that out. Okay, what's next? Well, should we take that off? I think we should. Whatever it is, looks like about, I don't know, 7/16 maybe. Yes, and still quite loose, in fact. Okay, we've got a washer. Looks like a fibre washer. And another fibre washer at the back. And I think this just, yes, it just gives you an idea of distance. Look, it's got numbers on there. That's what I think it does. Cool. Right, that's out of the way. We have a bit of a tidy up. Hey, we're not far off. This has come together, come apart, should I say, a lot easier than I originally planned, or expected, should I say. Now, what size Allen key is that? It's, geez, my eyesight's terrible, 3/16. Okay, going in. Now remember, this is the shaft that had the really worn bush on it, on the wheel. Okay. One. Spin them out, spin them out. Two, same length, which is good. Last one. Everything loose. Right, they're all the same length. Taking the back off. Okay, that's okay. It has got a bush in there, which no doubt will get replaced. We've got the shaft with gear. Any broken teeth? No, but man, it's worn. Jeez. That's really worn. Let's get the screwdriver, pointy stick. Hopefully she'll focus for you. Can you see that the width of the tooth is quite wide here? This is the part that doesn't contact the other gear. And then the tooth gets quite thin for this contact area. So they're actually quite badly worn. Really badly worn, actually. Jeez. Could be another part required. Okay. This is the shaft that the wheel goes on. And you can see the play on that shaft there. Look, if I pull it out, it just accentuates it a little bit for you. Let's hold that nice and still. There you go, look, you can see that? That's not good, is it? So we'll withdraw that. There's a fibre washer on the back of it, which we'll leave there for now. So we've got a bush there to replace. I would also replace that one whilst we're on. So we've got one here, and of course one in there. Wow, we'll do all that once it's all cleaned up. But it's good to see it has still got plenty of grease in it, which is nice. Probably grease from 1954. Very cool. Right, it's done. Fantastic. What's next? Right, I reckon we should actually tackle the lathe bed itself, and we'll get this rotating shaft taken off. This is what does the auto feed on the bed for the carriage. So let's just slide off the end stock. There we go. I think we'll do that one next. Okay, so working with the camera facing this side and away for me, I think we need to undo these. Relatively tight. Now remember that we've got another nipple here. Now this is an oiling nipple, not a grease nipple. Although by the looks of it, it has had grease put through it. See if we can get that out of there. Right, time for a close-up. You can't see diddly squat from over there, can you? Let's just get this one bolt out and then we're there. Okay, that's one. Sounds like the neighbours are having fun in the garden. God, couldn't they have picked a better time to do the gardening? I do mine once a year, and even then it usually involves a trip to the pub and none of the garden gets done. Right. That's a lot easier for me. Right, there we go, look, that's that one out. So, will that now slide off the end? It will. Fantastic. Right, to the t'other end. Every time I touch the camera I'm putting grease on the lens. God. Right. Again, relatively loose. As was that one. Okay, I'm just going to support the shaft at the other end so we're not overstressing these threads. And they should come out relatively easy. Honestly, people, can't you wait till tomorrow? It's a Sunday, it's a day of rest. You shouldn't be doing the gardening. Right, day of rest, what's that? Not had one of those for a long time. God. Okay, she's probably going to drop a little bit. There we go. Okay. Dum 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 dum. Terrible camera work, Andy. Right, both those two cap heads are out. Stick them on the mat. Okay, we've still got this end nut. Jeez. Okay, so we've still got this end nut to remove, and then we can get all these other bits and pieces taken off. Looks like we've got a tiny grub screw just in the end there holding this collar on. That should come off easily, and this should come off once the nut's undone. So in order to hold this shaft, I should really have taken that nut off before we stripped the lathe down, but hey, hindsight's a wonderful thing. So I'll stick this in the jaws of aluminium to cause no damage whatsoever, and then we can get the impact wrench out and just buzz that nut off. I have no idea what size it is. I'm probably going to use the wrong size socket. Dum, dum, dum. That'll do the trick, grommet. Right. What size socket is it? 11/16? Nope, too small. 3/4. Oh, well, sort of. It's a bit loose, isn't it? Anything in between? No. 11/16 still doesn't fit. Okay, well, 3/4 it is. Why does it not fit properly? There must be more sockets in the range. There we go. Right, nut is off. Ooh, there's a dowel, look. Okay, that's off. So now we're going to remove that dowel. Where's my rag? Come back, rag. Is it a roll pin? Is it a dowel? What is it? Okay. Let me get a punch. And before we bray hell out of it, let's just realign it in the vise and get it a little bit closer to where we need to, where we've got support. Okay, I'm assuming it comes out both ways. Prepare yourself for earthquakes, my apologies. Oh, that's not too bad actually. Now this is where it drops on the floor. So, can I hold both? Yes, right. One pin out. Could be the last time we ever see that pin. Don't lose it, Andy. I'll stick him in there, look. Okay, now we can get that bit off. Cool. And now we've got this to get off, which is a little collar that's held in place with grub screws by the looks of it. So we'll get rid of all the grease and stuff and we'll see where we're at with that. Now, where's the smallest imperial Allen key that I've got, which is this one, and that is way too big. So we've got, oh, there is only the one. That's good news. At least we only got to undo one. Let me have a rummage around and see what I can find to fit that. It's tiny. Right, I found an old pack of Imperial Allen keys. I think we used these on the very first videos on this lathe, and they do go down a lot smaller. So let's try 5. Geez, what's that? 5/61ths? No, 64ths. There we go. 64ths. Nope, too small. Let's go one up. So the third largest. Oh. Made by Trade Pro. Good job, Trade Pro. Is that going to fit? It is. So what size was it? It was a 3/32ths. What that is. Why is it not coming off? Is it also pressed on? I don't know. Don't lose the grub screw. Okay, we'll leave that on the Allen key for a second. Now, where's the magic hammer? Hammer of magic. Perfect. In that case, we'll swizzle it around in the vise and we'll just rest that on there. We've got enough height, so we're all right. So we'll keep the vise loose on the shaft and then we can just tap the shaft. Wonderful. Okay, anything else we should note? No. Nothing else on that shaft to worry about at this point in time. Fantastic. And that's where the little grub screw was sat, on that flat there, look. Cool. Okay, well, a few more bits for the pile. Now, we're not quite there yet. One last piece to take off, and that's this linear gear that runs all the way the length of the bed, or nearly all the way. This is for the carriage to run up and down. Of course, it's a different size Allen key. Bugger. Okay, next size down, this is a 5/32ths. Let's try that. Nothing like standardising all your fasteners, is there? Okay, that's that one. Let's just crack them all off first. Yep, good. Good. You've got to make sure you're all the way in as well, because these have got swarf and all sorts of stuff inside the head, so very easy to round them off if you're not careful. And they are all relatively tight, which is also a bit of a bonus. Right, let's whiz these out. Again, probably never moved, never taken off since this was born. 1954. I keep going on about it, but it's really old. Bit of a privilege to work on it, really. And to own it, actually. Bit of history, that's what it is. Well, this will be 2 components done and 2 still to go. We'll be halfway. I would try and spin it with both hands, but there's a lot of grease going on here at the moment. There we go. Let's do this one next. These little ball head Allen keys are really useful for this kind of stuff. Right, last one. It's probably going to fall off in a second. I don't think it's doweled. I think it's just bolted to the bed. Who knows? Hey, there you go. It's off. Linear gear. Look at that. Any missing teeth? No, she looks in pretty good nick to me. No, all teeth present and correct. Good job, Myford. So the lathe bed, the main part of the lathe, is now fully stripped. So let's get rid of that. Ready for the earthquake. Okay, That'd be a little project for Mrs. Mechanic to give that a clean. So what's next? Let's do the end stock. We need to fully strip this down so we can inspect what kind of wear there is in there and if it needs any parts replacing. Hopefully not. Well, first job, let's remove the chuck. And that's fitted on a tapered spline. Sorry, a taper, should I say. Not a spline, just a taper. So a bit of metal down there. Hopefully that's going to make contact. Bit long, but it'll do the trick. Wow, that's been in there a very long time. Look at all the rust on that. Holy moly. Jeez. Okay, get rid of that. Now, back to the bench. Bloody neighbours! Honestly, what do you do with them? Okay, well, let's start with something nice and easy, because I've not stripped one of these down before, so today is the day. Let's undo that nut. Now, size 5/8. Oh, it sort of is. That'll work. Let's give that a go. These weird socket sizes. Nice. Okay, that's out. Some bits off already, which is good. What else have we got? Well, we can take that off. Who knows? Is it just going to fall apart on us? I don't know. Looks like we've got we can flick that little collar out there. Hopefully. Let's give it a go. Oh yes, nice. So now that should allow this whole thing to come out, I would suggest. Or just the wheel. Just the wheel. Okay, let's get rid of the wheel. Now remember, I have never used this particular lathe. It came to me in a very poor state. So, you know, it's when you're using stuff, you get the feel for the lathe, and you can feel what's worn and that kind of stuff. So where are we going to go from now? I would expect that to have punched clean out, actually. That's weird why that won't come out of there. Let's give it a magic hammer tap and see what happens. Okay, well that's a larger diameter than that, so it's going to have to go that way. Maybe. He says we've got some movement, but not a lot. I need a brass thingy to go on there. Bear with me. Nope, too big. Okay, in that case, let me hold this and tap that. Oh no, that wasn't good. Bugger. Houston, we have a problem. That wasn't supposed to happen. Did I do that? Yes, I think I did. In my haste, without thinking and planning ahead, I tapped the back of this with the magic hammer and it just broke it clean off. I'm going to have to grind it out, weld it, and make it look right again. I mean, you'll never know when it's finished, and there isn't that much force on it. Or is there? Maybe there is, when you're drilling holes and stuff. What a dumbass mistake. Gutted. I really am gutted. Okay, let's see if we can get this out. So we're going to need some kind of soft punch on there. And all I've got is this. I'm going to quickly whiz this down in the other lathe so that it fits inside there and we can give it a tap through. I've got to treat this thing with a bit more respect. I should have done this right at the start. Right, here we go. let's just remove the broken piece. Not the end of the world, it can be fixed. But nonetheless, a foolish mistake. We're nearly there. So close. Punch on punch. Let's try that. There we go. Jeez. Simple with the right tools, isn't it? At least now I've got a nice new shiny punch that I made. A lot better than that crappy bit of metal that was all bent and twisted before. Right, moving on. Damn, I was just so upset. I'm already thinking about how I'm going to fix this, and obviously cast iron is notoriously weak once it's broken, and welding it's never particularly strong. And given the fact that this end piece of the headstock has all the force applied to it when you're drilling a hole, you know, you're pushing out with the chuck, it's going to be pushing against that, basically that part of the headstock. So your thoughts, because there's plenty of engineers out there. Machine this off completely, make up a new end piece in the lathe, mill out that semicircle there for the little insert to go in, and then drill in and put some countersunk machine screws into the actual body. So basically on this plane here, but further round, screwing into this remaining material here. That might be strong enough. It might. And I mean, don't forget that that little insert shim. I'll just grab it actually. That just needs to be removable, and it should actually have a small machine screw through it to hold it in place. This one was actually missing; it was just loose. So once it's all done, you could actually have an additional couple of screws going through this, so you could just undo those two screws and then remove this and strip the whole thing down. And that would provide additional support at the top as well. I reckon that would work really, really well and be quite a good modification. And actually, sorry Myford, an improvement on the design. Because numpties like me wouldn't be able to do this damage. And it is all my fault. And I'm not impressed with myself at all. That was a rookie mistake, Mr. Young. Gutted. Okay, so what's left? Well, we've got some Allen cap heads down here, look. So, what size are they going to be? I have no idea. 5/32ths. Is that going to be our lucky number? It could be. It feels like it might want to go in. Yes. We are on. There we go. Wasn't tight. Is this one going to be tight? It wasn't really very tight, people. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, what's that going to give us? Anything? Yes, that little plate. So we'll stick those back in there for now. Okay. Now, there's obviously this bottom piece is a separate part. So we've got a little flat screwdriver, little flat screw here. See if we can get that one out. Yes. That'd be a real bugger if that had rounded off, wouldn't it? Jeez. From bad to worse. Bloody hell, that's a long one. Holy moly! What the length of that? Okay, she said. Right. Got to cheat yourself up somehow. Okay. Two appear to both be the same length, which is good. Is it going to come apart yet? Don't know. Anything in there? Looks like there's something inside there as well, which is a bit weird. You see in there, look, there's like, I need a pick. They might just be adjusters actually, I think. I think they are. They can stay where they are for now. Okay. So maybe that might just come apart. Let's give it a go. There we go. Ooh, spring loaded. Nice. Okay. Right, that's that bottom piece off. Don't think there's anything else to worry about there. That's a little plate that's just riveted on, so we'll leave that alone. Okay, that's that off. Next job, we need to remove this bit. So another flat bladed screw. Is it going to come undone? It is. But only just. Very small little grub screw this time. Is that going to come out of there? Yes. Super job. Concentric cam. Nice, that's how it tightens itself up on the bed of the lathe. Okay, we're almost there. That was a very simple strip down, wasn't it? Yeah, I wonder how that comes out of there. You see in there, look, that's what tightens up. I think maybe we'll just leave that alone. It seems to be working just fine. It looks like a real pain to get out. It's obviously a bit of threaded rod, or it's got threads at the end, and you'd have to hold that bit stationary and put two lock nuts on here and lock them together and then try and undo it. So I think we'll leave that one well alone. Coolio. Right, that's done. Was it easy? It was. Was I an idiot doing it? Yes, I was. Right, what's left? We are so close. The last piece to do is to strip down this intermediate shaft. Now, we started to knock the shaft out on one of the previous videos and it starts to get really tight. It does still rotate, so I think it's tight on the actual pulleys themselves. The problem is, if we just hammer down on there, it's going to put additional stress on this part of the actual casting and it could cause it to break. And let's be fair, Andy's done enough damage to this old lathe already. So I have to be extremely careful. But it also has to come apart. There are some grub screws in there. There's one just there, look, and one just there. They've already been removed previously. So, without further ado, we're going to have to stick this in the vise and just very gingerly try and get that pulley to free off on the shaft. The pulley itself is quite worn. It's not as worn as the one that's down on the main shaft on the lathe, on the little gearbox there, but it is a little bit worn. So we may end up having to replace it at some point. But with the costs on this lathe massively escalating, I sincerely hope not. And I mean, Ben's only going to use it sporadically. So maybe if we can get it off in one piece, which I sincerely hope we can, we won't need to replace it. Okay, now there is a very delicate pulley on the end of this shaft, and at the moment it's not broken, and I don't really want to remove it because it's pressed onto the shaft and there's a retaining screw on the end as well. So hopefully we'll leave that in place. There are no cracks. If you see any cracks on camera, it's just cracked paint. The casting itself is completely intact. So hopefully it'll be like that in a few minutes' time. Okay, well, without further ado, he who dares, Rodney, he who dares. So a bit of a close-up before we start to extract. Now, I could use heat, that's one possible thing, but you can see that the shaft itself is free within these two components. It's just this pulley that's seized on the shaft, and I'm hunting around to see if there's any more grub screws, and I can't see any at all. So I think the sensible thing to do will be to apply some heat to this to see if it frees it off, and then we can tap it through. I'm not too concerned about the belt. The belt's probably going to get, well, it is going to get replaced anyway, but I'm just a bit reluctant to cut it off. I'd rather keep it in one piece to match up a new belt, then we can get the length right. But I'm just looking inside here to see if there's any more grub screws, and there isn't. It really shouldn't be that tight on the shaft. It must have just galled up, or maybe it's come loose at some point and, you know, spinned and burred the shaft. Right, we need a blowtorch. Quite a chunk of aluminium to warm up with a little blowtorch like this, so it could take a while. And it's weird because it wasn't tight on the shaft right at the start of its movement. It's only got tighter and tighter as it starts to move down the shaft. All the grease is melting and dripping down. Bearing in mind that aluminium expands at twice the rate of steel, this should get loose on the shaft, even though the shaft's warming up itself at the same time. Right, let's give it a go with our new punch. Moving! Yay! Right. I need a bigger punch. There we are, here's this one. Oh, it's sliding off now. Quite warm. Fantastic. Good job. Oh. Can't beat a bit of heat, can you? Fantastic stuff. Well done, little Myford. Very happy now. I was a bit concerned that might be another bit that I broke, but I didn't. I'm happy again now. Excellent. Ow, 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 hot, hot, jeez. So there we go, the Myford ML7 lathe is completely stripped down now. Yes, there's one more component than there should be on that particular lathe, and that's the bit that I broke off on the headstock. But it can be fixed. Yes, I'm a numpty. Put it in the comments. What a stupid mistake to make. I should have stopped and thought about what I was doing at the time. It is, in my defense, sometimes a bit easy to lose focus of the actual job when you're filming and you're more concerned about camera angles and making sure the camera is actually rolling and that kind of thing. But hey, no real excuse. I messed up, and we're only human. We all mess up now and again. But I have to fix that problem, and I know that I can and do a good job fixing it. And the end result should be that it never happens again. So, in this series of videos, if you enjoyed this one, why not let me know? Give us a thumbs up. If you didn't, give us a thumbs down. I don't mind which, although I'd actually prefer you to enjoy the videos. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching them, basically. Okay, so you'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Feel free to communicate through any of those portals, or send me an email, andymechanic@live.co.uk. The email address is in the video description. Why not subscribe to the channel? That way you won't miss out on all the future videos covering the full rebuild of this lathe, and of course the repair that I caused as well on the damage. So, you know, do all of that kind of stuff. Come back. There's over 500 videos on this channel covering repairs to motorcycles, ATVs, ROVs, trailers, cars, you name it. Oh, and there's a few tool girls that give me a hand too now and again. And tool girl Holly's back in the workshop this weekend. Another reason for getting this project to the next stage where I can assess all the parts and order what I need. And I will not be ordering a new headstock. I have to fix, tailstock. I have to fix that. My mistake. I have to fix it. I'm not just going to bail out and order a new one or find a good second-hand one. I need to fix it. I want to fix it. I want to put it right. I made it bad. Okay, crew. Well, until next time, see you around. Cheers. Over and out.
And we get the flip up again.
Oh!
Really.